Simon, where are we at with starting the session?
We're very close. I need to get the mics in the right place.
Right, OK.
So let's start off with the drums.
Let's go over to the drums then.
Where's drummer? There's a couple of things I'll do, particularly with the snare drum. First thing I notice is the snare, which is the wire below the drum, is running from here to there, and I'm going to put my bottom mic just about here, and I don't like the snare right underneath the mic. So if you could twist your snare by 90 degrees, that would be great. So the snare is running like that.
Can you tell us what you've brought with you? Kind of just quickly kind of describe everything you've got here in your setup.
Well, we have quite a lot of electronic sounds for the drum. So I have a sampler drum machine. So we've created the sounds and sampled them in here so I can play them. But to play live, you want to get that big meaty snare. So we've got a snare and live cymbals. And then apart from the drums, I sing through this chaos pad, and which affects my voice. And that's about it.
And you've got the iPod there as well?
Yeah, that was the accompanying sounds.
Marvellous, all right.
Cool.
Are you happy with this now, Simon?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of not standard, but that's fine. You know, I've no problem with that. A couple of things I noticed from a recording point of view, the hi-hat is quite close to the snare, so I've probably got my snare mic slightly nearer than I'd ideally like, but I'd rather have more snare on it than hi-hats.
Right.
I'm just going to put this mic in for the hi-hat again. Hi-hats are very loud, so I don't think I'll be using a lot of that. I'm also going to put a mic over the top, my beloved BBC ribbon mic. I'm going to just stick that up there, because it will just give me a different sounding snare. It was something to play with. And I've got a microphone here for these cymbals here. One thing that you may not notice, but I'm conscious of, is the snare is probably the loudest thing here, and the sound goes from the snare, will go up to that microphone, and also go to this microphone. So I want the distance from the snare to that mic and this mic to be the same. Yeah, I want the sound to arrive at the same time. So I'll have a quick look, and yeah, that's more or less the same distance to each mic, and I just know that is going to save me a lot of grief in there, but I will show you what that's doing. Right, so that's kind of there for the drums.
Drums sorted.
Drums sorted.
Oh, it was sorted before I tipped
bass.
them over.
So we have this Neumann U47 here. I, again, don't want to go too deep into this, but I tend to record one of the cones in the middle, and I tend to go in at an angle because I like the tone coming off the side of the cone. It's just something I prefer, so that's there. The DI is there, and we need one more XLR out of there, going after the DI and before the mic. Okay. Wicked. Right. This Marshall head and combo, two mics, one on each speaker. As with the snare drum and the overhead mics, the sound, you know, taking the time to get to each mic. I want both these mic capsules the same distance from either speaker. So I'm just going to stick that there. That's really loose. Might have to gaffer that up. Let's just twist that around there. With mic and guitars, you have a speaker cone and then a dome. If you move a mic all the way across, everywhere it goes, it's going to sound different. It's something, if you're a guitarist and you're recording yourself, play with that. Depending on what pickups you're using, what sound you have, that distance across the cone is going to make an awful lot of difference. My personal favourite is to go halfway between the cone and the dome with both mics, and that's that. So there's two speakers there, cone's in the middle, and I'm halfway between the cone and the edge. And both capsules are the same distance, because I'm going to use both the mics together because they'll both have a different sound. On this guitar, I'm doing it slightly different. Again, I'm going to have this close mic, and that's going to be halfway between the edge and the dome, just my preference, and this one is going to be off. Let's just get one that's not dying.
Are you worried about phase between those two?
Absolutely.
I'll say that again.
Just talking about the phase between the two microphones, one being further away from the closest ones.
Right.
Yeah, phase. And I believe that the phase button, does anybody know what a phase button on a desk is? Is the most important button on the desk.
What does it do?
It changes the phase,
Reverses it.
reverses the phase. Without getting too deep, you have a signal that's going up and down like that. One phase is that way. The out of phase, or hitting the button, it would go down first and then up. So like a sine wave flips a phase. Two mics together, if they're out of phase, they'll cancel it out. You'll hear it. It's best to hear it. But
Do
yeah,
you
the
encounter
phase,
anything between your DIing the bass and miking the bass as
Absolutely.
well? Because I've had problems with adding the DI bass in, but it's actually taking away from the bass
Yeah.
sound.
Yeah, well then, the quick way is to change the phase and see which one you prefer.
Yeah.
One will be hollow,
Yeah.
because it's working against. We might have trouble, so
there's
I'm
three
miking
of
the
them,
Sans amp.
Yeah.
That might, so there's 3 mics to get in phase. I will go for it, I'll make sure
Cool.
you hear the difference.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So, right, so that's the far mic. So I'm just going to give it a little twist. Right, so that's done. Vocal mics are in.
Are you happy with the keys?
Keys, it's a DI going, yeah, that's all cool, that's fine.
Marvellous. So we're ready to record the session.